again. We're live. We're back for Hebrew grammar. Colton, you're making me tired.
Sorry,
1 o'clock in the
need to do
morning.
it. It wasn't on.
1
It
o'clock in
wasn't
the
sure.
morning in Israel. We are covering this book, Grammar for Biblical Hebrew by Seow or Seow. How do you say it? There we go.
See you.
I found out while going through this course that this book, a handbook to a Grammar for Biblical Hebrew, right, has a lot of pages missing. Let's see what pages are missing. I wasn't aware because I never used it. But if you look here, this is page 56, and it skips straight to 73.
Oh, isn't that nice?
56 to 73. So it's missing a lot of pages. If anyone wants to complain to Abingdon and have them send me a new copy, because that's annoying. I bought
It's
that
like
a
when
long
I got
time ago and released it.
when I got that dictionary or that lexicon, and it had
Yeah, I remember.
the first like 9 chapters missing out of it.
Mhm.
Yeah,
That's
I did get a
frustrating.
new one. I did get a new one that was correct. So
Oh, well, there
yeah,
you go. Maybe I should contact Abingdon.
yeah.
Well, this week we are going again over another Binyan. This is Binyan Hiphil and its uses, the uses of the Vav conjunction. This is from lesson 24 in Show's grammar. And so we will begin because we got a lot to cover again. Here we go. I'm going to turn on my pen so that I can use it when I get to it. All right, so remember, Yihiyu leratzon imrei fi, v'hegyon libi lefanecha, Adonai tzuri v'goali. Common prayer. You might join in with it. Okay. It says, Toda rabba lechol chaverenu v'chavrotenu. Thank you very much to all of our subscribers, our members, and these are who are currently subscribed to our Patreon, patreon.com/the Hebrew Cafe. Please come and join if you can spare a few bucks a month. I'd really appreciate it. It helps me a lot. We have looked at the Binyan Kal, which is A'a, Katal, this form right there. We looked last week at PL. Was it last week or the week before? I feel like I've not been here in ages.
It's the week before you canceled last week because you were moving, right?
Because we're moving. Well, I'm officially in the house, but it's still a mess, so I'm working every day. And then Hiphil. Hiphil is the Binyan that we're looking at today. We have already covered the past tense of the Hiphil, that is the Katal, the perfect of the Hiphil we've covered. And so we're going to try to complete the paradigm today. So what do we need to learn about the Hiphil? First is, in covering the Binyan Hiphil, we will have to go over the same things that we covered in both Kal and PL. The harder part of the Hiphil appears in how hollow verbs are conjugated. Those are the ones with Vav and Yod in the middle of the root, second radical. So we'll look at the perfect, which is the Katal, or normally simplified as the past tense. The imperfect, Yiktol, normally simplified as the future or the irreal. The volitionals, that is jussive, imperative, and cohortative. There's also long forms of these. But in the Hiphil, these are less common. The narrative past, which we call the Vayiktol, and then the infinitives, absolute and construct. Okay, so basically the Hiphil is special in that it contains an I vowel under the preformative stem prefix. In all the other forms outside of the perfect, it has A. This is like we said in the PL, where we have, for example, what's a word? I don't know, pichet, because we had this in the last lesson in the reading. Pichet means he undressed someone. Pichet. When you add the suffixes, okay, the e becomes a. Pishatati. Pishatati. So in that case, this vowel right here in the third masculine singular is normally e, and in all the other cases it's a. Okay, but in the Hiphil we have an e here, that wants to exist. It's in the third masculine singular. It's in the third feminine singular. Himtir, himtira, the feminine. Himtira. And it's in the third common plural. Himtiru. Himtiru. So it has E, but in all the others, it changes to A, patach. Okay, so we're going to look at that. So, mamtir. No, I'm sorry. Himtality. This changes, yes. Himtality. In all of the things outside of the perfect where you have he, all of these ones are also A. They change as well. That's fun. Okay, so mamtir is the participle. Hamter is the imperative where E becomes E. Hamtir, himtir, hamter. And then the imperfect yamtir. Okay, this is from the root mem tet resh, which is connected to rain. Matar. Matar is rain. It's one of the words for rain. Hebrew has a lot of words for rain. I can think off the top of my head of 4 that are just words that mean rain and not drizzle, not tal. How do you say tal? When a plant is wet in the morning, dew. It's
Do
not.
oh yeah.
It's not dew. It's just the words for rain. You have
Yeah.
matar. You have geshem.
Mm-hmm.
You have yore. Yore is the early rains, and malkosh is the latter rains. So we have at least these 4 words for rain. Okay, again, I put together this table that I really like, and I use it for the structure of how I present verbs. The infinitive construct is in the middle. So lehashmid means to destroy or to ruin, to bring to nothing. Lehashmid. Hashmid is the infinitive construct. Okay, the past tense or the perfect. Hishmadati, like this is the verb hishmid. Hishmid, he destroyed. When we go down the paradigm, hishmadati, I destroyed. Ani hishmadati. Ata hishmadata. At hishmadet. Hu hishmid. He hishmida. אנחנו השמדנו, אתם השמדתם, אתן השמדתן, והם, hen, it's the same, השמידו. That's why it's common plural, השמידו. So we see the E present in these forms here, and all the rest have A. Okay, השמיד. For some reason, there's E and A vowels become A outside of the third person. So not just in the Hiphil, but also in the PL. Okay. The future, this is simpler. We think of it as Yashmid, he will destroy. You want to go down the part of the paradigm, Colton?
Sure. Ashmid.
Say with Ani, Ata, At, and so
Oh,
on.
okay, sure. So yeah, Ani Ashmid, Ata Tashmid, At Tashmidi, he who Yashmid, he Tashmid, Anachnu Nashmid. Sorry. Um, Atem, sorry, it took me a second. Atem Tashmidu, Aten Tashmedna,
This is a
Hem
mistake. It should be
Yash,
Yashmid.
yeah, Hem Yashmidu, and then Hen Tashmedna.
Tashmedna, yeah.
Sorry, I was struggling to remember the pronoun. There was another reason I was struggling. I was laughing. Oh, I the books I learned from, of course, had them flipped the other way, where the third person's on top,
Uh-huh.
and so like just like having it all like different like threw me off. It was just like what? Yeah, no, it was just funny.
I
Yeah,
fixed that one now. So.
look at
Okay. I'm gonna get that back to you. Okay, so this Yashmidu. I apologize, that was me. All right, the They normally do, Normally they start and they
Yeah,
just go straight down the line. Third masculine singular, third
yeah,
feminine singular, and so on.
yeah.
Uh,
And that's how I
I mean,
memorized a
just
lot of them back when I memorized them. But
it looks more logical to me to go this direction
yeah,
because it
no,
shows the common gender, masculine,
yeah,
feminine, and the person's 1, 2, 3 instead of 3, 2, 1.
yeah. They just do it because the catal, the third masculine singular catal is the lexical form. That's why
Yeah.
that's why they do it that way.
So we just need to remember the forms we refer to are these ones. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so the participle which is used as present tense in Hebrew, modern Hebrew, mashmid, mashmida, mashmidim, mashmidot, and the imperative shortens that vowel in the second masculine. It says hashmed, not hashmid, but hashmed, hashmidi, hashmidu, hashmedna. Interestingly, in modern Hebrew, when we give a negative command, we teach in biblical Hebrew that you're supposed to use al with the jussive, the second person jussive. So we would say like al telech, don't go. But we don't use that in modern Hebrew. We don't use the jussive. We say like al tashmid, al ta'ale. We should say, according to biblical Hebrew, al tashmed, al tashmed, because the jussive has instead of al tashmed. Um, and then also instead of al ta'ale, do not go up, al ta'ale, which is what we say, and al ta'ase, don't do. We should say al ta'al, al ta'as. It's the shorter form, but those are not used in modern Hebrew. Interesting. So we've got yashmid, yashmed, this is the jussive, third person, and the verb consecutive vayashmed, and he destroyed. Ashmid is the same as ashmida. Ashmida is a long form imperfect, could be used as a cooperative. And the infinitive absolute is like the imperative, Hashmed hishmadata, you have surely destroyed. Hashmed hishmadata. Okay? That's the word lehashmid, to destroy. We have a lot of these words to look over, so we'll go through them systematically. All right. So this is from Ahmad. Ahmad he stood. The Hiphil He'emid is he made to stand, or he stood something up, or I don't know, he made it stand up. Maybe he made it stop, because La'amod also means not to move. You stand in place, you don't move. Okay, so let's go down the paradigm in the passage. We will notice that this is first guttural, because the root is ayin, mem, dalet. So the ayin is the first position, it's first guttural. So we're going to look at what happens with the first guttural. Okay, Colton, you want to take it?
Sure. Hi'imadati. Sorry.
Ani.
Yeah. Ani hi'imadati. Ata
Mhm,
hi'imadata. At hi'imadit.
mhm,
Hu hi'imid. He hi'imida.
mhm,
Anachnu hi'imadnu.
mhm.
Atim hi'imadtim. Atin hi'imadtin. And then hema. Hem hi'imidu.
Fantastic. If we think about what's going on in this, I'll open Microsoft Word. Last Thursday was not a successful thing, just using Word through the whole session. I'm sorry for that. It didn't go very well, but what can you do? Sometimes you flop. We only have one viewer, and we have no comments, so hopefully people will get involved again. Maybe I didn't publish it well enough. I really didn't publish it enough. Let's see what happens. Because we would expect, like Hishmid, okay, we would expect with Ahmad, we would have first a Hey and then a Yod infix. Okay, the normal pattern would be he with shvana, like this. So when you have a guttural, first thing is you don't want to have the guttural without any sound. It wants to echo. So the way it does that, the I class can be reduced as an E class eh. So we have eh to sound the ayin, and it affects the coloration of that vowel too. So it's the same vocalic pattern. It's just the beginning of it cannot be a closed syllable like that because of the guttural. So instead of he amid, it's he amid, he amid. And it also happens with, let's see what happens with aleph. Um, okay, seal. No, let's not see. Okay, so amen, like amen, he emin, it's the same. He emin. He emin, he believed. He believed. Okay. All right. So back at it, we have got hemadity that we talked about, that we looked at. Okay, so in the future, we've got ani amid, ata ta'amid, at ta'amidi, hu ya'amid, he ta'amid. Remember, these are always the same form. Anachnu na'amid, atem ta'amidu, aten ta'amedna. Okay, that the vowel colors to shorter form. Hem ya'amidu, the hen ta'amedna. Ta'amedna is always the same form here and here. Okay. The participle ma'amid, ma'amida, ma'amidin, ma'amidot. Okay. And what do you have with the imperative? Oh,
Ha'amed, ha'amidi, or yeah, ha'amidu, ha'amedna.
all right. Great. Ahmed, Hamidi, Hamidu, Ahmedna. Notice again, just like the past tense is with the closed syllable with e in a strong verb, and here it's he. Okay. In all the other instances, instead of e or it's a in the first syllable under the preformative. That's a feature. Okay. Oh, we want to go over the notes. Ya'amid becomes Ya'amed for Joseph, and Va Ya'amed, he made stand. He made something stand in the verb consecutive. Hamed Amid, this is infinitive absolute. Hamed, just like the imperative. Okay. And Hamed in the imperative could also be Hamida. Notice we always have a long form in imperative possible. So Hamed, Hamida, and the form will be like Amidi. Amidi, Hamida, but that's masculine. Okay. And Amid is like Amida, a long form imperfect that can also be used as coordinative. Okay. Here we've got a nice root. This root is Shin Kuf Yod. Shin Kuf Yod. The verb is called lehashkot. Lehashkot is to water. You can water animals or you can water plants. Lehashkot. And if a person, you don't water a person, you give someone something to drink, but it's the same verb. Okay. It's used in the story of trying to find a wife for Jacob, I believe, for Isaac. Isaac or Jacob? Do you remember? It was Isaac and Rebecca.
Yeah, it's Abraham sent his servant to find a
Yes.
wife for Isaac.
Eleazar went to find a wife for Abraham's son Isaac, and he said he sat down by a well and he said he prayed to God, whoever will come and offer me water and give it also to my camels, let her be the one, and blah blah blah. So lehashtot is to water my camels and water me, to give me water, right? To give me something to drink. So we're going to refer to it as hishka. Hishka, he gave to drink. Notice always the interplay in third position between the yod and the hey. Okay. The real root letter is yod. The one apparent is hey. It's apparent because it's in the third person. Okay. Hishka is from Shin Kuf Yod. Hishka becomes Ani Hishketi. Ata hishketa. At hishket. Hu hishka. He hishketa. Okay, where the hey becomes tav, right? Hishketa. Anachnu hishkenu. Atem hishketem. Aten hishketen. Vehem hishku. Okay? Give us the future or the
Yeah.
imperfect.
Ani ashke, ata tashke, ad tashki, hu yashke, he tashke,
Always the same
anachnu,
form.
yep, anachnu nashke, atim tashku, atin tashkena, him yashke, or yashku, sorry, and hina tashkena.
In Tashkena. Okay. So if Yashke is the future, he will. The way you get to the Jessup generally in the third hay is to apocopape the hay, to drop the hay. So Yashke becomes Yashk. And for whatever reason, it stays that way. When you've got the kuf or the kaf, it likes to stay as this shortened form. So Yashk is let him water, let him give drink. And the verb consecutive, vaiktol, is vayashk. Vayashk, he watered, he gave drink. And
Hmm.
so she watered, speaking of Rebecca, instead of tashke, vatashk. Vatashk. Mhm. Can you think of another word, another verb consecutive where you have a kuf or a kaf just hanging out there?
Vayevk.
Vayev. Vayev, and he cried from yivke, or he
Hmm.
wept. Another word that this happens with is like ishte. Ishte, he
Hmm.
will drink. I think it's also vayesht. Vayesht, he drank.
Hmm.
I want to
Yeah.
look that up because I don't want to give bad information, but in my brain, that's what it is. Let's see. Oh, come on. Okay, search for shata. In Logos, you have to search third hey, but in most applications, you search third yod. Verb kal, Vaiktol, third masculine singular, and search. Vayesht. I didn't want to give bad information. I just wanted to make sure. So you've got the tav just hanging out at the end of the word there. Yishte becomes vayesht. Also with the possible long form vayishte that doesn't show apocryphy. Okay? Fun. So vayashk, she gave drink. The infinitive absolute is like the imperative, hashke. So hashke, ashke, I will certainly give drink. Okay. Do you want to explain this verb to us?
Ha'al, yeah. Ha'al, sorry. Leha'alot. Um,
Mhm.
just the weaknesses in the morphology. Yeah.
What are
Okay.
the two weaknesses?
Yeah. So this one's fun because it's doubly weak in that the
Mhm.
first root consonant is a guttural, an ayin,
Yeah.
and the third one is yod.
Yeah, so
Um,
number two is strong. That's what we call a
yep,
strong radical. And number three is yod, which
mhm,
plays out as hey in the third person, right?
right. And
And
so you just take the two idiosyncrasies of those two things and you put them together, but it really kind of only leaves the strong letter uh, the in the middle from the
yeah,
paradigm to really kind of know what's going on.
yeah, it kind of holds it in place, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
and yeah. I mean, we see something similar with other words like other roots like nake, lenakot, um,
Mhm.
lehakot. Excuse me. Um,
Yeah, quote, to strike or
yeah,
to smite.
that cough stays there, and sometimes it's the only one that's there uh, in
Mhm.
both consecutive forms, and so uh, from the original root. But yeah, similar thing. So, you want me to keep going? Just do the
Yeah, go
thing.
through it.
Yeah.
So
Okay. Cool.
lehalot is the Hiphil of Allah. Allah, he went up,
Yeah.
and Allah, he made go up, or he brought up.
Yeah. To bring up, frequently used with to refer to
Sacrifice.
sacrifices. Yeah. Thank you.
Mhm.
And
So in
so,
that case, it would be to offer up.
yeah. Um, so, starting with the perfect or the katal, um, ani he'eleti, uh,
So let me move over, sorry. Nihileti. Mm-hmm.
yeah, ata he'eleta,
Mm-hmm.
at
You brought
he'elet,
up. Yeah. Atelet.
uh, hu he'ela,
Uhela.
he'elta,
Mm-hmm. Because we would, this one reduces to shva, the one in front of it cannot hold the shva, and it goes to its the common vowel between them. So
mm-hmm,
instead of the he eleta, where this has a shva on it, whenever there's a shva after it, it has to switch to a full vowel.
mm-hmm,
Mm-hmm. He elta.
he'elta. Yeah, and then anaknu he'elenu,
Mm-hmm.
atem he'eletem, aten
Eletem.
uh, aten he'eleten, and
Mm-hmm.
then hema he'elu.
He
Um,
elu.
and
So they brought
then
up, they made to go up. Yeah.
mhm, yeah, and then in the imperfect or the yiktol, ani aale,
Mm-hmm.
ata ta'ale, at ta'ali, hu ya'ale, and he ta'ale.
Mm-hmm. So ta'ale is always the same form.
Mm-hmm. Anachnu na'ale, atem ta'ale, ta'alu, excuse me, did it again. Aten ta'alenu,
Ta'alena.
ta'alena, sorry, yeah.
Mhm.
Sorry for being sloppy, everybody. um, Heim ya'alu and heina ta'alena.
Okay. What is weird about all of this?
What is weird about all of that? Hmm.
How do you know it's Hiphil?
Oh, well, it's a great question. You don't. Context.
Exactly. In the Hiphil and the Kal, the imperfect are the same. Ale can mean I will go up or I will cause to go up.
Mm-hmm.
Atat ale, you will go up or you will bring up. At
Yeah.
ta'ali, you will go up, or at ta'ali, you will bring up. This causes some confusion, but it should be pretty clear from context because leha'alot will have an object.
Yeah.
Leha'alot et ha'am el ha'aretz, to bring the people up into the land.
Right.
Leha'alot et ha'ole, to cause the offering to go up, the burnt offering to go up.
Mm-hmm.
Leha'alot et amincha. So with la'alot, to go up, there will be no object. That's only subject.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? In all the other forms, it's clear. This is clear that it's Hiphil because of the hey prefix, because of the mem prefix, the hey prefix. This is all clear. But in the future, the yiktol, there is ambiguity. Okay? What about this one?
Um, and then in the participle, ma'ale or yeah, ma'ale in the masculine singular, the uh, feminine singular, he, ma'ala, ma'alim, and then ma'alot.
Mhm. Ma'ale, ma'ala, ma'alim, ma'alot. Great.
Mm-hmm.
Ma'alot is also a word that is a noun meaning a sense.
Mm-hmm.
Or in modern Hebrew, degrees, like 20 degrees, it's very cold. 20
Mm,
degrees, ma'alot.
yeah.
Mhm.
Oh yeah. Sure. And then Betsavui, is that right?
Tzivui.
Tsivui, Betsivui. Yeah, in the imperative. Ha'ale, ha'ali, ha'alu, and ha'alena.
Great. So it's like the future. Ta'alu, ha'alu.
Mhm.
Ta'ale, ha'ale. Ta'ali, ha'ali. Ta'alena, ha'alena. The imperative is always based on the forms of the imperfect. All right, good. Ya'ale, he will go up, would be ya'al, let him go up, and vaya'al, he went up, of consecutive. It's also ya'ale, he sent up or he brought up. Ya'al, let him offer, let him bring up. Vaya'al, and he brought up, or and he offered. So when you see vaya'al, which is actually a pretty common verb, it can be either he went up without an object, or and he made go up, he offered up. So it's the form is the same, right? And also in the second person, vata'al, it can be you went up, or it says vata'al, you went up, or vata'al, you offered up. They're the same. Ha'ale is infinitive construct, just like imperfect, infinitive absolute, excuse me. Ha'ale, ya'ale. You will certainly go, you will certainly offer up. This makes it not ambiguous. It makes it clear that this is Hiphil, because this is Hiphil, right? Okay. The next verb is from Nun, Gimel, Dalet. Okay. And the hin gid becomes higid. Higid with the assimilation of the Nun. Higid. Okay, so higid means he announced or he told. Higid. The infinitive construct, lehagid, to tell, to announce. Lehagid. Higadati, higadata, higadet, higid, higiדה. אנחנו היגדנו, אתם היגדתם, אתן היגדתן, והם הגידו. הגידו. בעתיד, אני אגיד, אתה תגיד, את תגידי, הוא יגיד והיא תגיד. אנחנו נגיד, אתם תגידו, אתן תגדנה, הם יגידו והן תגדנה. And we build the imperative off of that. Have I lost my, am I still moving? I thought maybe I'm frozen, but I can't hear you.
Yeah, you're good. Sorry.
Okay, because my pen stopped working. I thought maybe my computer was slowing. So off of the future, tagid, we've got haged, tagidi, hagidi, tagidu, hagidu, hagedna, hagedna. Okay, the participles, magid, magida, magidim, magidot. Okay, yagid, he will here, yagid, becomes injussive, yaged. Remember that coloration of the vowel, yaged, vayaged, and he told. Haged, yagid, he shall surely tell. Agid and agida is the same. One is the longer form imperfect, which is used as cohortative again. Haged imperative is also possibly hagida. Hagida could also be long form imperative. Okay, we've got these are weak, middle weak. These are middle weak. This is second vav. That is lakum, lakum, to get up. Something funny happens in the past. So kum becomes hekim. The vav always becomes e in the Hiphil. So hekim, hekima. Hekim, hekima. In modern Hebrew, we add to this, and it's possible in the Bible also, we say hekamti, hekamti. But it's more common in the Bible to take the whole thing and add an ot syllable inside of it before you add or an o syllable inside of it before adding the t. So hakim, the first syllable reduces to ha because the stress moves, and it becomes hakimoti. Ani hakimoti. I established. Hakimoti. This is used in the chapter Genesis 10, 8. The chapter where the flood is ended with Noah, and God says, I will establish my covenant with you. V'hakimoti et briti.
Mm-hmm.
Hakimoti. V'hakimoti. So hakimoti, I established. Ata hakimota. At hakimot. Hu ekim v'yekima. So the O infix is only in the first and second person. Hakimonu, hakimotem, hakimoten, and hekimu, like hekim, hekima, hekimu. Those are the simple ones. Okay, Colton, take us to the future. That's pretty standard. Again, the vav changes to E in the future.
Yep. Akim, ani akim, ata takim, at takimi, hu yakim, he takim. Anachnu nakim, atem takimu, aten takemna. Uh,
So just to comment on the form here, it's built normally on this form. So takim, you would add takim and then na. But when you have e, it goes to e, and when you have o, or sorry, when you have u will normally go to o. U goes to o, and e goes to e
mhm.
in the transition between these forms.
Yeah. Hem yakimu and hen takemna.
Yeah. Okay. The participle.
Yeah. Mekim, makima, makimim, and makimot.
Less like English ma, but meh, ekimot, meh.
Yeah, I know. I try. It doesn't always come out right.
It's funny because our preference is to delete the sound completely,
Mm-hmm.
but for some reason with the mem, it likes to be pronounced.
Yeah.
Mekimim. And the imperative is hakem, hakimi, hakimu, hakemna. Pretty simple. If yakim is the imperfect, then the jasiv, the vowel, is colored to yakem, yasim, yasem, and then he set up is vayakem. Vayakem, as opposed to the kal, which is vayakom. Vayakom, he got up, and vayakem, he set up. Okay? The infinitive absolute is like the imperative, hakem, hakem hekamti, or hakem hakimoti. I have indeed established. Akim could become the long form akima. Right? All
Mm-hmm.
right. This word lehaniach, it looks like it is written with nun chet, because of the dagesh in the middle, which looks like hin niach. Hin niach. The actual root really is nun vav chet. It's a middle weak, but it's pulled into having two different meanings. So lehaniach with nun doubled is to put or to place, to put something. Lehaniach tefillin, you put tefillin on your arm and on your head. Lehaniach with a nun that's doubled. The same verb can have the nun not doubled, and then it means to give rest, to bring to rest, to make something stop or to rest. Okay, so let's look at the forms. Hiniach, okay, hiniach, hiniach. Hinachti, henachti. Hinachta, henachta. Hinacht, okay, hinacht, henacht. Most people won't know the difference between the forms. You could use either one, but there is a difference in the biblical text.
Mm-hmm.
Hinicha, henicha. Okay, hinachnu, hinachnu. The difference is the syllable is open or closed. When it's open, it's got compensatory lengthening for the loss of the dagesh, and if it's closed, then it's got the chirek. Hinachtem, hanachtem, with the reduced vowel in the front. The same hinachten, hanachten. Okay, and then hinichu, hinichu. Not a big difference, but just so you're aware that it happens. Maniach, manicha, manichin, manichot. There's no reduction of the first vowel because the syllable is closed. But look what happens when the syllable is open. Meniach, menicha, menichim, menichot. With the first syllable reduced. Okay, the future, the yiktol. Aniach, taniach, tanichi. Yaniach, taniach. Naniach, tanichu, tanachna. Yanichu, tanachna. Okay, we look at the same thing. Aniach, taniach, tanichi, yaniach, taniach, naniach. They all sound the same. Tanichu, tanachna, yanichu, tanachna. They all have the same sounds. The only difference is the closed syllable with the double note. Okay, yaniach, yanach, in the Joseph, let him put. Yanach, vayanach, and he put. So when it's God put Adam in the Garden of Eden, it uses this verb vayanach. Hanach hinachti, I have certainly put. Aniach is the same as anicha. Haneach is the imperative. Haneach becoming hanicha in the long form imperative. Hanicha. Okay. Let's see. So yaniach, yanach, vayanach. So and he brought it to rest. He caused it to rest. This one is vayanach with the syllable adjusted with stress. Vayanach. The other one where he put is vayanach. Vayanach, vayanach. Haneach enachti. Aniach, anicha, same sound. Haneach, hanicha, same sound. So there's a lot of overlap between these two forms. Just be aware that they exist. I wanted to look here at the different forms like lariv and rava, because lariv is to fight, to quarrel, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So he will is yariv, he will fight, he will quarrel. Yarev, let him quarrel, let him fight, and vayarev, he quarreled. It's about consecutive. So what I want to look at is the combination of this resh and bet, because this causes a lot of confusion in the forms. We also have lirbot. Lirbot is to become numerous, to increase from the root resh bet yud. The other one was resh yud bet. Lirbot becomes yirbe. Yirbe, he will become numerous, he will increase. Yerev, or slicha, yirev, yirev. We have Yarev here, Yarev, Yirev, Vayirev, and he became numerous. Okay? And then suddenly we have Leharabot in the Hiphil, to increase something or to make it greater, from the same as Lirbot, but in the Hiphil. So Yirbe, Yarbe. The Joseph, Yarev, Yirev, Yerev. The Yerev is Hiphil, so Vayerev, and he increased whatever it was. Vayarev, he fought. Vayirev, he became great.
Mm.
You see the confusion?
Mm-hmm.
This is Kal, and this is Hiphil. Okay, and this is this root, and this is a different root. All right. And one more set of these confusing. The groups, la'alot, to go up, is ya'ale, Joseph ya'al, vaya'al is about consecutive. Okay, leha'alot, we already said, ya'ale, ya'al, vaya'al, they're exactly the same forms. Kal is here, Hiphil is here with the same root. So that is a confusion to watch out for. The same with lirot, to see. We have yir'e, yere, and vayar. Okay? And then in the Hiphil, leharot, to show or to cause someone to see, you have yar'e. I don't know what the Jessup is because it doesn't appear anywhere, but we've got vayar as he showed. So vayar and vayar are the same. It can mean he showed or he saw. So it's a little bit problematic. These are things to notice between the Hiphil and the Kal. If you have first Vav, suddenly Yashav becomes Hoshav because Ho comes from how. How Shiv. This is how you think of it. The root is Vashav, which becomes Yashav in the past. In the Kal, Yashav. In the Hiphil, it's as if it's Ha is the prefix with the Vav, and then E gets inserted. Okay, so this how becomes O. Ho Shiv. Ho Shiv. Ho Shiv means he made someone sit or dwell. God made his people dwell in the promised land, caused them to dwell, or he sat them down, he seated them.
Yeah.
Hoshiv. Do you want to run through Hoshiv for us? This is our last paradigm to look at today before the synopsis. I know that this is a lot of information. Michael says hello and that he'll rewatch later. He had to come a bit late. So welcome to the group, Michael.
Yeah.
So start with Ani.
אני הושבתי, אתה הושבת, את הושבת, הוא הושיב, היא הושיבה. אנחנו הושבנו, אתם הושבתם, אתן הושבתן, and then הם הושיבו.
The future, Ani.
Yeah. אני אושיב, אתה תושיב, את תושיבי. הוא יושיב, היא תושיב. אנחנו נושיב, אתם תושיבו, אתן תושבנה, המה יושיבו, הנה תושבנה.
All right. Imperatives, Hoshev, Oshivi, Oshivu, Oshevna, based on the future. Okay. So if Yoshiv is the he will do it or he should do it or could do it or whatever, let him do it is Yoshev. Yoshev looks just like the Kal participle. Yoshev, ani Yoshev kan, I'm sitting here, ani Yoshev po. Yoshev. But it's also let him seat or let him cause someone to dwell. So the Hiphil in Vav consecutive is Vayoshev. Vayoshev. And he caused them to dwell. Vayoshev otam be'eretz Yisrael. Vayoshev. Okay? The infinitive absolute, Hoshev, looks like the imperative. In the Hiphil, the infinitive absolute almost always looks exactly like the imperative singular. So Hoshev, Oshiv, I shall certainly cause someone to dwell. Oshiv, a long form is Oshiva. Okay, this is the synopsis, which you can find in the book. If there are any questions, please let me know. You can even post them on the YouTube video, and I'll do my best to answer. Okay, I don't want to go through them all because it's too much right now. Quickly, we will go over the various uses of the Vav conjunction. First of all is copulative. It's copulative, it just means and. It joins bread and butter, meat and dairy, food and water. It's just coordinating two things together. Okay? The second is alternative, means it's this or that. This is normally used with a negative because you say, I did not see a man and a woman, means I didn't see a man or a woman. I didn't see these ones or those ones. Normally that's used with a negative. The next is but. Normally, this is one thing is negative and the other one's positive. So you say, "Mm, I saw him. I saw a man in the street and not a woman." Instead of and, you should say but in your translation. I saw a man in the street, but not a woman. Okay, we can look at the examples that are given in the book. Explicative says that is or even. The most famous passage in which this plays is the one in Zechariah that says, behold, your king comes to you humble and riding on a donkey, even the foal of a colt, or something like that, meaning that it's one animal, it's not two animals. But in Hebrew it says and. And then the circumstantial, which we've seen a lot in our reading, that is, and the Philistines were fighting Israel. That's a circumstantial while or when the Philistines were fighting Israel. That we looked at in chapter 31 today of 1 Samuel, the very first verse that we read. Okay, if we want to look at the examples, these are on page 284 of the grammar after the synopsis. So the alternative, let's see, the copulative meaning, it says Moshe va'Aharon, Moses and Aaron. The alternative says Avdecha va'amatecha. This is from the Ten Commandments. It says, you shall do no work on that day, neither you nor your son or daughter, nor your male slave or your female slave. Male or female. It doesn't matter which one, it's or. It doesn't necessarily mean both. Maybe you don't have a female slave, but you have a male. Maybe you shouldn't have any slaves at all, because slavery is an evil reality. Number 3, adversative, meaning but. So, yeled misken vechacham. It means literally a boy, yeled. It says wretched or poor and wise. Poor and wise should be adversative. That is, poor is a bad quality. You don't want to be poor, but wise is a good quality. You do want to be wise, so it's a poor but wise boy. When you have this negative and positive thing together, you would translate it with but. Okay, explicative. This uses 1 Samuel 17:40, and it says, I'm just looking at the text. It says, "Bichli ro'im asher lo uvayalkut." We read this in the David story. You remember that, Colton, where we read this in his shepherd's vessel that he had, and in his pouch. Yeah. Shepherd's vessel and pouch is the same thing. So the yalkut is an explanation. It's giving a name to the shepherd's vessel. Okay, and then number 5, the circumstantial meaning. It says, "Vayelech b'chol tuv Adonai b'yado." He went and all the goodness of his master in his hand. It means with. He went with all of his master's goodness or wealth in his hand. And they give another example, but I don't want to read through them all. It's fine. There are other things that go here that go with the meaning of vav that you can read on 284 and 285. And I don't want to waste any time on it. We need to just go onto the vocabulary, and we're almost done. Ooh. Which is good for timing. So the verbs in our vocabulary, the first one is haga, lahgot. Lahgot is to meditate or to mumble, to think about, to ruminate on in your thoughts. This is used in Psalm chapter 1. Gege yomam valayla. Like he meditates day and night on God's Torah. It's a good idea to memorize the Bible, to memorize passages, because it lets these things call to mind. It's also in the beginning of our session today where it said, "Yihiyu l'ratzon imrei fi v'hegiyon libi lefanecha." Remember, the root that ends in hey is actually yod. So it's hey gimel yod, and the noun that comes from it is hegayon or higayon. It means meditation. May the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart, hegyon libi, be pleasing before you. To comfort is in the PL, lenachem. Lenachem doesn't take negation in the middle because of the guttural, and so with virtual doubling, it becomes nicham. Nicham, like shilam, he paid or repaid. So this is one of those that takes patach in the second syllable, nicham, not nichem. I think in modern Hebrew we would say nichem, like we say shilem. Like it feels natural to me to say lenachem, nichem.
Mm-hmm.
In the G stem that is in the tal, we have salach, lisloach. Lisloach, to forgive, and the object takes the lamed. So salach li, he forgave to me. He forgave me. Salach li. Arach or la'aroch, to arrange, to lay out, to set. In the story of Abraham and Isaac, where he arranged or he laid out the wood on the altar to sacrifice his son. It says that he "Vaya'aroch et ha'etzim." Okay, so we'll meet on this Thursday to go over the homework for lesson 24. Again, I apologize for last week. It was not focused and not great. And that's probably why some people didn't come today, but we'll try to work that out and make it better. Then next Monday, we're going to continue with David's story. We read chapter 31 today, so we're going to start with 2 Samuel next week, 2 Samuel chapter 1, and go over Binyan Nifal in the second hour. So we are going to be starting to like touch on passive verbs and passivity in Hebrew, as well as reciprocity. That's going to be fun. And then after that, the week after lesson 25, which is what we just went over, that is also תודה רבה לכם על ההקשבה ועל ההשתתפות. I hope that you enjoyed. Colton, anything you want to say or add?
No, I don't think so.
I think you and I are going to start modern Hebrew in the next hour, aren't we?
I reckon so. See how that
Is
goes.
that our plan?
That was my assumption. So as long as it's still your plan, it's still my plan.
I hope so. Let's. I'm going to dig out my book. I brought it here yesterday, so it is here.
Okay, good deal.
Good. So we'll see you in a couple of minutes. Michael says he actually enjoyed last week's homework review. I felt that I was talking into the air. Like, I don't like when I don't get feedback because I think that I just blabber and that it's not interesting. And I'd like to know what people are thinking. So, but I appreciate your encouragement, really. But this Thursday will be better. It's going to be back to the normal pattern. All right, thank you guys. Love you so much. Colton, you got a word of goodbye?
Yeah, just bye, y'all. That's about all
Bye,
I got
y'all.
to say.
We'll see you on
Yeah.
Thursday.
Yeah.
Bye bye.